Welcome to the channel. Picture this. You're sitting at the gate. Your flight's supposed to leave in 15 minutes. And then the dreaded announcement comes on, ladies and gentlemen. We are experiencing a technical delay. Everyone groans, some people roll their eyes, but you tell yourself, well, at least it's for my safety. But what if it's not? What if that delay has nothing to do with safety and everything to do with money? What if your time and patience are just part of a multi-million-dollar game you didn't even know you were playing? Stick with me, because once you hear the truth, you'll never look at air travel the same way again. And make sure to stay to the end, because the last secret might just change the way you fly forever. So let's start with that technical delay. It sounds serious, maybe even life-saving. But the reality is that 3 out of 4 of those delays aren't about a broken sensor or a faulty engine at all. Airlines spend millions to secure prime takeoff and landing slots, and if an important plane is running late, your flight might be deliberately held back just so another one can swoop in and keep its golden time. It's less about safety, more about a carefully calculated financial move. And when the airline does admit to a problem, notice the phrase they use. Extraordinary circumstances sounds official, right? It's actually a loophole. Under European law, passengers are supposed to get cash compensation for long delays, but when the airline calls every hiccup a technical fault or a safety concern, it magically saves them billions in payouts every single year. Have you ever walked through one of those futuristic face scan gates that make you feel like you're stepping into a sci-fi movie? They look mandatory. But here's the truth, they're not. In the US and most of Europe, you can always opt out and ask for a manual ID check. Airports push biometrics because it saves them time and because your data is worth a lot more than you think. And yet, most people don't realize they have a choice. The same goes for that 100 milliliter liquid rule. You think it's universal, but it's not. What passes through one airport might be confiscated at another. A sealed bottle of duty-free liquor could make it past one checkpoint and get tossed in the trash at your next connection. The rule has roots in a real plot years ago, but its enforcement is wildly inconsistent. The only way to avoid heartbreak is to check the official rules at every airport on your route before you pack. And then there's the promise of free airport Wi-Fi. Free sounds nice, but most of the time it's just bait. You get an hour before you're forced to pay, or worse, they're collecting your data. Those email signups and logins, they're not free at all. The smarter move is to download everything you need before you even step foot in the terminal. Movies, music, boarding passes, it'll save your sanity. Duty-free shopping is another illusion. We've been trained to think we're getting bargains. In reality, many products are marked up to cover the sky-high rent retailers pay for that space. In fact, the perfume, liquor, or chocolate you grab on impulse could be 15% more expensive than at your local store. The only way to know is to check prices online before you buy. Ever wondered why flights are overbooked? It's not incompetence, it's math. Airlines know a certain percentage of passengers won't show, so they sell more seats than they have. The lie isn't the overbooking itself, it's how they handle it. Gate agents often wait until the last minute to ask for volunteers, creating chaos, and then they dangle a small voucher, though they're authorized to offer much more. If you approach them early and negotiate, you can walk away with hundreds in credit. Here's one that might make you put down that in-flight coffee. The water used for hot drinks comes from onboard tanks, and those tanks are notoriously hard to clean. Spot checks by regulators have found bacteria, even E. coli, in about 1 in 7 planes. That's why so many flight attendants carry their own bottled water. The safe bet for you: fill up a reusable bottle after security and stick to sealed bottles during the flight. And let's not forget the famous weather excuse. How many times have you heard, "Sorry folks, it's weather"? Weather is the perfect scapegoat because it exempts airlines from paying compensation. But sometimes it's not the weather at all. Sometimes it's simply that the airline didn't sell enough tickets, so they canceled. If you want proof, you can use flight tracking sites to compare the official story with the plane's actual history. That's your evidence if you decide to fight back. There's also the influencer trick that's become so popular. You see glamorous photos of people sipping champagne on private jets. The truth, many of those pictures are staged in studios that rent fake jet interiors by the hour. Those flights never happened. It's a curated illusion designed to sell envy. And while you're thinking about illusions, let me share one more ugly truth. That tray table in front of you, it's one of the dirtiest surfaces on the plane. Quick turnarounds mean crews usually just pick up trash. Tray tables rarely get a proper cleaning between flights, which means you're eating, working, and touching something dozens of people before you already used. The fix is simple. Pack disinfectant wipes and give it a good clean before you settle in. At the end of the day, the biggest lie of all is that you're powerless. Airlines count on you not knowing your rights. They hope you won't document delays or push for compensation. But the truth is, you have more power than you realize. Laws in Europe, rules from the Department of Transportation in the US, protections around the world, they exist to protect you. The only trick is knowing them. Save receipts, take screenshots, note the exact reason they give for a delay. An informed passenger is the last thing an airline wants to deal with. So next time you're told, "We apologize for your inconvenience," remember it's not always the full story. Now you know the truth. You're not just a passenger anymore. You're someone who can see through the system. Someone ready to fly smarter, stronger, and with a new kind of power.